When I first started school, I quickly realized how cruel people could be. Kids would stare at me before they even got to know me. Some laughed, some whispered, and some asked questions that made me feel less than human. Every single day felt like a battle. I remember going home after school, sitting alone in my room, and wondering why I had to be different. I would look out the window and watch other kids running, playing sports, riding bikes, and laughing together without a care in the world. Deep inside, I wished I could experience life the same way they did. The hardest part wasn't only my physical condition. The hardest part was believing the negative words people spoke over my life. When someone tells you again and again that you're not good enough, eventually you begin to believe it. I started thinking maybe they were right. Maybe I would never fit in. Maybe no one would truly accept me. I felt insecure, embarrassed, and afraid of being rejected. Sometimes I even avoided people because I didn't want to face their judgment. But one day, something inside me started to change. I realized that I couldn't spend my whole life waiting for people to approve of me. I couldn't wake up one morning and magically have arms and legs, but I could decide how I wanted to see myself. I understood that being different didn't make me worthless. In fact, my difference could become my strength. Slowly, I began to stop focusing on what I didn't have and started appreciating what I did have: a heart, a mind, a purpose, and a chance to inspire others. That realization became the first step toward changing my life forever. As I got older, the pain inside me became heavier than ever before. I tried to act strong in front of people, but deep down I was struggling every single day. Watching other kids live normal lives made me feel like I was missing out on everything. I saw them playing soccer after school, riding bikes through the neighborhood, skateboarding with their friends, and doing simple things I could never experience the same way. Every time I watched them, I felt another piece of my confidence disappear. I began asking difficult questions that no one seemed able to answer. Why did this happen to me? Why was I born like this? What purpose could my life possibly have? I asked doctors, teachers, and even my parents, but nobody truly knew the answer. That uncertainty made me feel angry, confused, and completely lost. Slowly, I started believing the lies people had spoken over me for years. I convinced myself that I would never succeed, never find happiness, and never be accepted by the world around me. The loneliness became unbearable at times. There were nights when I stayed awake thinking about my future, wondering if my life would always feel this painful. I smiled around people because I didn't want anyone to see how broken I really was. But the truth was that I was falling apart emotionally. Fear controlled my thoughts, fear of rejection, fear of failure, fear that my life would never improve. But even in the middle of all that darkness, something inside me kept fighting to survive. I realized that pain can either destroy you or shape you into someone stronger. I didn't understand my purpose yet, but I slowly began to believe that my story wasn't over. Sometimes the greatest battles we fight are the ones nobody else can see, and surviving those battles can completely transform your life forever. One of the greatest lessons I learned in life is that success does not happen all at once. Life moves one step at a time. When people look at successful individuals, they often only see the final result, but they don't see the struggles, failures, and painful moments that happened along the way. For me, every single day was a challenge. Even simple tasks required determination, patience, and courage. There were moments when I felt like giving up because the journey seemed too difficult to continue. I remember thinking about how many times life had knocked me down emotionally. There were days when rejection hurt so deeply that I questioned whether I had the strength to keep moving forward. Sometimes I felt stuck, like I wasn't making any progress at all. But I slowly realized something powerful. Every person falls down in life. The difference is whether they choose to stay down or rise again. I began training my mind to focus on small victories instead of impossible expectations. I learned that growth happens little by little. You cannot skip the process. You cannot jump from pain to success overnight. Every step matters, even the painful ones. Along the way, I failed many times. I made mistakes, lost confidence, and struggled with fear. But every time I fell, I forced myself to try again. That became my new mindset. If I failed 100 times, I would try 101 times. Because as long as I kept trying, there was always hope. Giving up would guarantee failure, but persistence gave me a chance to succeed. Over time, I discovered that true strength does not come from physical ability. True strength comes from the heart, the mind, and the willingness to keep going even when life feels impossible. And sometimes, the people who struggle the most become the strongest because they learn how to survive the hardest battles. For a long time, I became very good at pretending everything was okay. I learned how to smile in front of people, laugh at jokes, and act confident even when I felt completely broken inside. Most people around me had no idea how much pain I carried every single day. They only saw the outside version of me, but they never saw the battles happening in my mind when I was alone. The truth is, sometimes the people who smile the most are the ones hurting the deepest. There were nights when I would lie in bed thinking about my future and feeling overwhelmed with fear. I worried about whether I would ever truly belong anywhere. I wondered if anyone would ever fully accept me for who I was. Fear became a constant voice in my head, reminding me of my insecurities and weaknesses. I was afraid of rejection, afraid of failure, and afraid that my life would never improve. Those thoughts slowly drained my confidence and left me emotionally exhausted. What made it even harder was that I didn't always know how to talk about my pain. Like many people, I hid my struggles because I didn't want others to think I was weak. I thought I had to handle everything on my own. But hiding pain does not heal it. In fact, silence often makes the pain grow even stronger. Over time, I realized that every person is fighting some kind of battle, even if nobody else can see it. Some people struggle with loneliness, anxiety, broken families, rejection, or feelings of not being good enough. We all carry wounds in different ways, and that realization changed me because I understood I wasn't alone in my suffering. I began learning that my value was not based on people's opinions or my physical appearance. My struggles did not define my worth. Instead of allowing pain to destroy me, I slowly started allowing it to shape me into someone stronger, wiser, and more compassionate toward others. Today, when people see me speaking in front of thousands of people around the world, they often assume that I have always been confident and strong. What they do not see are the years of pain, rejection, loneliness, and self-doubt that came before this moment. They do not see the nights when I questioned my purpose or the moments when I felt completely hopeless. My journey was not easy, and there were many times when I wanted to give up. But the reason I am standing here today is simple. I refuse to quit. Life will knock every single person down at some point. There will be moments when you feel rejected, misunderstood, or broken by circumstances you cannot control. People may judge you, criticize you, or make you feel like you are not enough. Sometimes even your own thoughts can become your biggest enemy. But I learned that your future is not determined by how many times you fall. Your future is determined by how many times you choose to rise again. Every challenge I faced helped shape the person I eventually became. The pain I once hated became the very thing that gave me strength, compassion, and purpose. Instead of allowing my struggles to destroy my life, I decided to use them to inspire others who were hurting. I realized that even the darkest situations can produce hope if you keep moving forward. That is why I want every person listening to remember this. Your story is not over yet. No matter how broken you feel today, there is still hope for your future. As long as you are breathing, there is another opportunity to stand back up and keep fighting for your life and your dreams. You may not control every circumstance that happens to you, but you can control your response, and sometimes the greatest victory is simply refusing to give up when life becomes difficult.